You wake up in an empty room. You look around. All you see is the darkness. And a door. Such an odd door in a place like this. You walk towards the door and go to open it when... D&D. A magical game where everyone can come together and possibly murder an entire village. Yep, that's D&D for ya. Hello everyone, this is Mikey Beaver Games, and today I thought I'd share some experiences I've had as a, I guess rather new player into the world of D&D. D&D, or Dungeons & Dragons, is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game originally designed by Gary Gygax and Dave Anderson back in 1974. Back in those days, players would come together with created characters and dice in hand, and play in a spot far away from the prying eye. I guess back then, some people thought it was satanic. Anyways, nowadays, it's a pastime enjoyed by many, whether you're sitting around a table dressed in cosplay, or online via the use of online platforms like Roll20 and D&D Beyond. There's always a way for you to play D&D. Now to play D&D, you need a few things, of course. Number 1, you need a dungeon/game master, DM and GM respectively. 2, you need a setting. Now you could use either many of the wonderful creations from Wizards of the Coast, the now publishers of the game, like Tomb of Annihilation, Curse of Strahd, and the Storm King's Thunder, or you can create one yourself via homebrew. And number 3, your fellow party members. Alright, so now that I've talked a little bit about what D&D is, I think it's about time I explain some of my experiences with it. So, I got started with D&D, I think it was about half a year ago now? And it was thanks to a personal friend of mine who introduced me to their friend who was a DM. They were running a campaign that they created that I'm not sure of the name. I don't know if they ever told us the name. But their name, we'll call them Pen. So Pen helped me design my very first character, who was a dragonborn barbarian by the name of Caliban. In the beginning, he could speak. He used a pencil and paper and sign language to speak to the party, because I thought it was cool, and this was my first character, so go easy on me. And so I joined at a very early time in the campaign, so Caliban was there for a lot of the major events. Like the time that we went to, presumably the BBG, I'm not 100% sure, they haven't quite been revealed yet, sorry. And so, they killed the party's NPC, Finn, and sent them into the Feywilds. As they went along in the Feywilds, Caliban noticed that his homeland was actually there. And so the party eventually had made their way over to there after, doing the obvious D&D stuff, hanging out with some dwarves, burning down an entire village with a fire elemental. We won't talk about that, though. When we got to the island plateau that was in the air for some reason, that Caliban used to live in, he soon found out that it was not actually his home, but a replica created for the afterlife. He wasn't dead, which is what he found strange. He soon found the clan's like full-blooded dragon that they worshipped kind of like a goddess, I guess. And so Caliban, who had left his village prior because of a war breaking out upon that dragon's disappearance, finally meeting the dragon had a moment, and then we went on to another party member's hometown and found that not everything was alright because they were surrounded in a swamp when it was supposed to be a mountainous village. So we went to a town, and then in the middle of the night, Caliban had gotten summoned by his clan's dragon goddess to assist her on many of adventures, I'm sure. And that was how I had wrote out my first character. He's still alive and might show up later in the campaign. But this was because I found another character that I wrote by myself that I was very proud of that I created. And this is where I introduced my second character, May Honeybrew. Now, she's an artificer. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. She's also a homebrewed race called, I think, Akamimi? Which is like a red panda race. Because, why not? And so, she is the, like, you think of a inventor type. That's basically her. Talks really fast. Invents all these wacky things. And, yeah. She is the character I'm currently playing in that campaign. And I love her so much. Because I love all my characters, really. And so that's where that's where we are now in the campaign. The first campaign that I'm in here. But first, I will tell you a story about Caliban. So, on the way to the archipelago in the sky where Caliban thought he lived, they had taken a boat that was helmed by an air elemental. And they had a sea monster come up and attack them. Now, at first, one of the party members had tamed it for a little bit using a certain spell I can't remember the name of. But then that party member also switched characters, thus, it was aggressive again. And so, when the monster was killed, me, playing Caliban in my infinite wisdom, decided to suplex the giant sea monster, and then, do barbarian things, rip off the head, bathe in the blood, you know how barbarians are. And so, that's like one of my fondest memories with Caliban. Another story, which is a story I dread, is the time Caliban went up against 10 swamp rats. At first I'm like, oh, this is easy, they're not that much health, there's not that many, I can take them. At the time Caliban had 83 HP. He was reduced to 3 by 10 sewer rats. And so the party had to save him. He got the rat madness and started like screaming in Latin, which isn't even a language in the campaign. It was just for the meme, really. And a couple other party members had the rat madness. I think there was only 2 party members that didn't get rat madness. It was a time and a half. Now, that's all of my stories as a player. I have a campaign that I actually wrote myself that I call The Darkest Hour. It takes place in a kind of like Europe. It looks like Europe, the map, but it's different with several different characteristics. And so I created that because I wanted to try to DM. And this will be my first time DMing. I will be probably having my first session next Saturday. Upon, as long as the players that I have in my campaign, which are also good friends of mine, are comfortable and ready. And I cannot wait to actually go ahead and see a story I created come to life. And I guess that's about all. I just kind of wanted to make this video to talk about some of my experiences playing D&D and talk about the campaign I wrote. That was a time and a half. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching this retrospect, or not retrospect, more of a look into D&D from a newbie player. This has been Mikey Beaver Games, and I will see you next stream. Bye-bye!